Good morning. We're answering the question today, how to have vitality as a man. And is there a conspiracy against you having vitality? And to answer that question, I want to take you back. I want you to look into your childhood. I want you to look back at school, and I want to take you back to when I was in school and how little health education I got, how little education I got about stress, how little education I got about toxins in the food, environmental toxins, how little education I got, and how many stupid things I did. Let me get this tripod ready. We're going to go out on a little nice morning skate together. In the quiet parts of the town today. And so, man, looking back, even before I even had a conscious awareness of being fat, I was just never educated on health. I didn't think that there was such thing as unhealthy food. I remember the first time, we would have pizza on Friday nights. And one day my dad wasn't having pizza with us, and I said to him, "Dad, why aren't you eating pizza?" And he said, "I'm on a diet." I was like 10, 11, maybe 12. And I said, "What's a diet?" And he said, "It's where you eat healthy food, not unhealthy food." That's actually a great definition of a diet. Most people aren't really on diets. They just starve themselves and eat fake food. So my dad's definition was actually really good upon reflection. And so I said, "What do you mean unhealthy food?" And he said, "Food like pizza." I was like, "What do you mean? So why are you buying us pizza if it's unhealthy?" He says, "Well, it's only unhealthy if it makes you fat," which is, that is just wrong. And so I said, "Fat?" I went into the mirror that same night in my room when I was alone. I looked at my stomach and I felt remorseful as a kid. I didn't like what I saw. I realized I'm fat. That's the moment I realized what fat even means and that I am it. It was like Adam and Eve eating the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. And I realized my eyes were open to the idea that, there's bad food out there. There's unhealthy food out there. And it just made me feel so strange. I felt betrayed. I felt confused. I felt sad that I can't eat. Maybe I shouldn't eat pizza or ice cream anymore. It was a very hard realization. I didn't understand it. How could it be bad? How could it be unhealthy if it tastes so good? I have to not eat it anymore? I love pizza. I love ice cream. How is this so? And I still remember looking at myself in the mirror, and my reflection convinced me of the truth. Because I was fat. And, I was in middle school at the time, and I knew that the wrestlers and the jocks in my school looked different than me. They didn't have stomachs. They had abs. And they were popular with the girls. And so my brilliant mind put it together. If I have abs, I'll get girls. That's the difference. That's what I need. And so I still remember looking at myself in the mirror. I actually whimpered. I whimpered because I was sad. And I realized, wow, this world, there's such things as unhealthy food, and I don't want to be unhealthy. I want to be healthy. So I'm going to get abs. I'm going to get girls. So even from a very young age, I had no health education. I was eating Hot Pockets. That's not a joke. I was eating Hot Pockets for years, thinking that it was healthy because it was called a lean pocket. A lean pocket. It's going to make me lean. What was it? Still wheat and pizza and tomato sauce. Same thing. But it's lean. Fake health food. It's a disgrace. And so why? That's the question. There's examples like this. I can go on and on and on. But you probably have similar examples of lack of health education. propaganda. From a kid. Why? Why is society doing this? Acts of omission, acts of commission. Not only are they not teaching us health education, but they're actually lying to us. You remember this one? Sugar is just sugar. The government trying to tell you that you should eat 8 servings of wheat every day. Just lies upon lies upon lies. And it's kind of obvious why they're doing it. It's because they're in bed with the companies. They're trying to make money. It's obvious. When you're an adult, you can see right through it. People are going to have conflicts of interest, and they're going to lobby for whatever makes them money. And so the government obviously is agricultural, and it grows wheat so easily. So it's going to tell you, eat wheat. It's the products we make. And so I did. I was addicted to it for so long. So why aren't they teaching us? Why aren't they teaching us health education? You know, you go through all of high school, I wasn't taught any course on nutrition, any course on health. I was not taught any course on vitality. No course on reducing stress. It's kind of like, you look at a perfect example. You look at the movie Star Wars. People are curious why I'm so into Star Wars. It's a perfect picture of what's happening. So, what is the light side? What is the dark side? Who are the Jedis? Who is the dark side of the Force? Well, you look at what's happening with the government in that movie. You have the narcissistic, psychopathic, dark triad part of government that basically just wants to suppress like a tyrant and extract and enslave the people, right? And so that's why it's Machiavellian, it's manipulative, it's deceptive, it lies, it uses propaganda, it's psychopathic, it'll use violence to enslave the people. It's narcissistic, it's selfish. So it's a dark triad there, right in the movie. That's why it's so compelling. And then you have the Jedis and the rebellion, right? What do they represent? Well, they represent the people who see through all those lies, and they want to make a change in the culture. They want to take the power away from the dark triad, the narcissists, the psychopaths, the manipulators. They're the warriors who see through all the deception. They don't buy it. They weren't deceived. And so that's the Jedis. And the Jedis breed a rebellion. They inspire a rebellion because they know the truth. And they lead. They're the leaders of the truth. And so many people in the society, they just go along with it. They get brainwashed. They're like the stormtroopers, right? They become stormtroopers. They get enslaved by the empire because of the benefits. So the empire says, we'll take care of you. You'll be part of our powerful force. Just don't question it and do what you're told. People who can't think for themselves, it's like the Nazi revolution. They never question it, they never stand up to it, and they just go with the flow of whatever is in the common sphere of knowledge. The propaganda, they never question it. And they actually persecute the people who stand up against it. So that's why people don't want to be in the rebellion. They don't want to stand up for the truth. They want to go the easy way and get the benefits. And so they become stormtroopers. It's somewhat rare for somebody to see through it and be part of the rebellion instead. It's the harder way. But that's who the Jedis were. That's who the rebellion was. They were inspired by the philosophy of the Jedi. The Jedi said, we have to make a change. We can't let this corruption seep into society. We can't let the people on the top, the dark side, reap all the power, reap all the benefit just by extracting all the energy, all the nutrients from the people. And that's exactly what's happening nowadays. That's the exact picture. You have the leaders of corrupt businesses and industries that are feeding the world poison, figuratively and literally, just for the love of money, just for the love of control. And so, what does the dark side of an empire do when it wants to suppress its culture, its people, and extract benefit for its own selfish good? 3 things. It tells lies. Second thing, it makes the people weak, takes away their weapons. And number 3, make the people dumb. So then you have a dumb, not strong, brainwashed culture, right? And the easiest thing is just to propaganda them. It's just to lie to them so that there's never even a fight. You just buy into the lie. You just buy into the lie. But to get people to buy into the lie, sometimes you gotta make them dumb. And so how is society doing this to us? Well, they're making us weak and dumb by poisoning us with the food and the chemicals and the toxins. And the thing is, if you don't believe it, it's even easier to do it to you. If you think that there's no such thing as poisons in the food or the chemicals aren't poisonous, there's no such thing as toxicity from drinking from plastic water bottles, they win. They beat you. They lied to you. And you willingly just took it. And that's their fault because they're lying to you. They're giving what tingling ears want to hear. We don't want to think that we're in a toxic society. I don't blame you. We don't want to think the food that we're eating is poison. Who would? We don't want to think that the water that we're bathing in and drinking has poison. We don't want to think that fluoride is poison. We just want to believe what the empire is telling us. It's to prevent cavities. Don't look at any other demographic, sociological, historical data. Don't look at evidence. Only look at what we'll show you. Only look at the evil scientists' reports, which is really just propaganda. It's just a fancy propaganda with fancy terms to make you believe the propaganda. The sophisticated lingo of the medical industry is made to gaslight you. It's made to make you think that you're not sophisticated enough to actually understand it. You have to believe it from the experts. Okay? So lawyers do that too. Not that every doctor or every lawyer does this, all right? See what I'm saying? So that's the first thing, is deceive them. Deceive them about everything. Deceive them to think that the glyphosate that you're spraying on the food isn't poison, even though it's proven that it's poison. And every other society actually outlaws it. Okay? So they're lying to you. There's so many toxins, and we have to protect ourselves, and we have to see through it. We need prudence, right? So that's the first thing that the Jedis and the rebellion has, is the prudence to really understand, well, in nature, was this there? Is this a natural thing? How do I come to the truth? How do I really know what's happening here? Is somebody lying to me? Is there a conflict of interest? Is there potential selfish scheme that potentially could be happening? And are humans really capable of that? You know? Are we naive enough to think that people would not do that to us? Do we just live in this society that's completely altruistic? Nobody would ever lie to you for their own good. Nobody's trying to control you, lie to you. No one, you think that the government or the political leaders actually have your best interest in mind all the time, or if there's a light side and a dark side. And sometimes the dark side is there, and it's lying. And it doesn't really care. So that's the Jedi's strength, is to have the prudence. And then what else does the dark side of a government do? So not only will it lie, number one, but number two, it'll try and make you dumb. It'll try and make you weak so that you can't see through it. So what kind of society does that? Why would society do that? Well, because they're not thinking long term. They're just thinking about their own life. And so that's what their values and their philosophy does. They think that they're just going to die in 40, 50 years, survival of the fittest. They're just thinking of like this Darwinian materialist paradigm. They don't realize what could really be happening with their soul. They don't realize what's really happening to the people and to their own soul when they become so psychopathic. They're just thinking, well, I'm the stronger gorilla. There's no such thing as good or bad. There's no such thing as morality. There's no such thing as cause and effect in my soul. I'm just gonna physically dominate. They're trying to gain fulfillment just from physically dominating. And that means make you weak. They don't care. Make you weak. Give you medications and medicine that doesn't work. It just extracts money, 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 money. You know, my dad was on medications for a little bit of time. They never helped him. You know what helped him? Is actually looking at his diet, eating more fruits and vegetables, actually getting out there and walking, actually sleeping better. Dad lost so much weight doing fasting. But did the doctor ever recommend that to him? No. He switched doctors so many times. Me and him had to go on an educational journey together. We were listening to Dr. Gregor's, amazing. Talks about the benefits of a plant-based diet. Talks about avoiding the toxins, detoxifying your body. You know, my dad lost 50 pounds. My dad was 240 pounds, went down to 190. Amazing results. And we were doing it together, eating real food. You know, this is way after he introduced me to the Atkins diet. This is not the Atkins diet. This is a pure foods diet. Get away from the toxins. You know, so the medications aren't the solution to your health. Nobody ever got healthy taking more medications. That's the wrong approach. And who really gets vital by doing that? Does the government want you smart and vital and energized? Do they want you seeing through their lies? Do they want you producing science that contradicts them? Do they want you creating businesses that takes away from their market share? Not really. They want to disempower people. That's why they're lying. And that's why we have to be like Jedis. We have to be like the rebellion. There is this conspiracy happening, whether we like it or not. And it's coming from so many different sources. And everybody has their own story of how it impacts them. You know, I had so many times in my life, even just growing up, misled, uneducated, lied to, supplement industry lied to me, right? So as a teenager, I had such dysfunctional patterns of exercise. I didn't know what to do. I basically just starved myself and ran every single day. I didn't know what to do. Ate a box of cereal a day. No health education. Why is that? Why is the government not giving kids health education? Why is it telling them basically just eat wheat? That's the only thing I knew. I was eating so much wheat. Cereal has wheat, bread has wheat. You really think that? I really thought that bread was a health food. I wish. How easy would that be? Just eat more bread, you'll get healthy. See, food isn't what it used to be. And then, once I woke up and stopped torturing myself with long distance cardio, which just stresses out your nervous system and your joints, completely unnatural, running on concrete, long distance. Then I finally got into weightlifting, and weightlifting changed my life. I loved it. I gained 30 pounds in like 4 or 5 months. It was amazing. But you know what? Then the supplement industry was lying to me, just to sell things and get my money. Just to get my money. All these 50-pound bags of protein, whey protein, vanilla, chocolate, Lucky Charms, all of these different flavors, Cocoa Puffs. I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The whey protein Cocoa Puff flavor, the protein bars, I was into it all. The energy boosters, the pre-workout. People get into all this stuff about the energy drinks, the caffeine, the energy boosters. They even will try to convince you. It has all these fancy names, L-carnitine, L-glutamine. I'm not against a lot of those things, but these supplements are like $100. Who's teaching just to eat whole foods? No, they're making you feel like you have to buy their scientifically crafted formulation with these 10 weird chemical names that you don't know about. And so just spend all your money, I promise. It'll make you jack like this fitness model that I put on the front, who's on testosterone and growth hormone and has good genetics. That's the secret to health. And I bought in. I was drinking the casein shakes, the protein powder. All that stuff doesn't work. All that stuff is a scam. So you got the dark side of the fitness industry. We didn't even talk about that yet. We talked about the dark side of the government. We talked about a little bit about the dark side of the supplement industry. Well, what about the dark side of the food industry? We're talking about the dark side. You got the Jedis. We're speaking the truth. We're the Jedis, guys. The health hackers, the health revolution. But the food industry is the dark side. A lot of people in the food industry are lying. We talked about lies about pesticides, lies about GMOs. You're eating apples that are this big. You look at real apples. I lived on the farm with my grandpa when I was 12. The apples are like this big. They taste completely different. GMO, as if it has no impacts when you increase only the species that produce sugar. So you're eating the species that produce the most sugar. They're just breeding these foods so that they're more palatable to you. They're not breeding it for nutrition. They're not breeding it for health. They're breeding it for marketability. They're breeding it for shelf life. They're breeding it for color. They're breeding it for sugar content. They're selling you the sweetest. They just want to make money. How many of these apples can we sell? The fake food industry, fake health food industry. How many fake health foods are out there? It's the dark side. It's Darth Vader and Darth Maul trying to deceive you. Lean pockets, lean cuisine, low fat, low trans fat. You can buy Oreos that are 0 grams of trans fat. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all just marketing. It's all just propaganda. What about all the artificial sugars? It's not bad for you. Splenda. Splenda causes GI disruption worse than eating Twinkies. My body reacts so horribly to Splenda. I get brain fog. I get bloated instantly. Instantly, I get in a horrible mood for hours. I notice it instantly. I had a client, she was overweight and depressed. And she was dieting, she was trying to do all of these different things to try to lose weight. Not realizing that she's using 2 or 3 packets of Splenda in the morning in her coffee, which disrupts your gut microbiome and makes you gain and retain weight. They did research on this. People who eat more diet soda are more obese. There's a correlation between these things, the artificial sweeteners and obesity. So once my client removed the Splenda, I told her, you have to remove the Splenda. She removed the Splenda. She stopped having headaches. Her depression went down dramatically. Skin issues cleared up. I also get horrible acne when I eat artificial sweeteners. And this can be in anything. This is in everything. This is in yogurts. This is in drinks, any kind of drinks, any kind of lowered sugar, anything that they want to sweeten up. They're pouring it everywhere now. Sucralose. Aspartame is horrible. So the food industry has so many fake health foods. They're just lying. It's absolutely criminal. They should be thrown in prison. You know, kids are drinking this. If you ruin the gut microbiome of a species, of an organism, that basically leads to any health condition, mental health conditions, skin conditions, autoimmune conditions. Why? Because when you're toxifying a system, you're messing with the nervous system, you're messing with the organs, you're messing with the hormones. So I used to have all of this stuff. All of that garbage. You know, I got really, really into health in my college years. I was getting pretty big, I was getting pretty strong. I remember I was benching in the 225s for reps, squatting 315 for reps. I was doing all right. But, you know, my diet wasn't really that great. I was getting a little bit chubby. And I really wanted to be a chiropractor. I got inspired by this doctor, Dr. Bergman, one of the best teachers, John Bergman, not Dr. Berg. I like him too, but John Bergman, one of the best chiropractor teachers. He always said, you know, the disease always starts in two ways: deficiency, toxicity. Deficiency and toxicity. So what does that mean? So we look at the food. Is there a nutrient deficiency in it? Of course. Artificial fertilizer, soil degradation. So we have the deficiency. They're feeding us food that isn't grown in soil. Why? Because it's cheaper to use fertilizers than to actually take the time to nurture the ground. So what do? Well, what about sustainable moral agriculture, like Joel Salatin? What about farmers markets? What about everybody who's growing food in the natural way? Do we support them? Are we buying from the Amish grocers? You know, I just went to a farmers market, just moved here to Miami, and I found this amazing company, Charles Weber Organics. He delivers food from all the organic farmers who actually grow it sustainably. Moral agriculture. Remember that. Sustainable agriculture. Find someone like that. Charles Weber Organics. So now I buy my butter, my kefir. You can buy organic meats, grass-fed meats, real meats. Not how they treat the animal agriculture industry. It's evil. You know, so are you supporting these people? Are you supporting the absolutely evil, crooked agriculture industry, animal agriculture industry? You know, if you haven't watched movies that expose these practices in these industries like Forks Over Knives or Food Inc., you know, do yourself a favor. Break free from the dark side propaganda. Watch Forks Over Knives and Food Inc. I watched those and I almost puked. It is disgusting. It is disgusting, but sometimes, you know what? You have to look at the ugly side of life to wake up, to not be naive, to not be deceived. Not everything in this world is pretty and innocent. There is evil. And if we're not aware of it, then their propaganda makes us just keep on going with it. And we eat it up. You want to escape the lies? Watch Food Inc. Watch Forks Over Knives. It will show you what's happening, how they're treating the animals. You know, the animals are linked to our well-being. They're part of the land. If you're going to eat an animal, eat a healthy animal. If you see how they're treating the chickens and the cows and the pigs, it's absolutely disgusting. Pumping them full of hormones, unnatural environments, just surrounded by feces, it is disgusting. And then we eat those animals so pumped full of antibiotics, eating the worst quality food, living in emotional turmoil. You should see the emotional turmoil of these animals. You think that doesn't affect their health? And then you eat that. It's horrible. People have to wake up. There's propaganda. These slaughterhouses are absolutely ghastly. They are absolutely ghastly. You know, the people who work in these slaughterhouses have higher levels of emotional disturbance and way worse health. What does that tell you? So the food industry is perverted and wicked. We have to support the Jedi food industry. You know, that's why I experimented with vegetarianism and veganism, because I didn't know how to find healthy meat. It's so hard to find healthy meat. Every time I ate meat, I would just feel heavy, lethargic, and drained. Now, it's not like I have a philosophy that everybody should not eat meat. You should only eat healthy meat, right? How do you find that? Well, if you get it from an organic grass-fed farm, it's going to be better than buying it from Walmart or Publix. You know, at least get grass-fed, pasture-raised. My God, organic. You don't want to be eating these animals. And you know what? When I went vegan, I did feel healthier. My skin cleared up, had more energy, had more mental clarity, better emotions, because I was eating so much just low-quality meat before that. It's horrible. You should see my before and after photos. My face went from being like a moon face, like completely transformed me in just a year. And the list goes on and on and on. It really does. How many lies that we can expose about the Darth Vader food industry is a disgrace. And you know, if you think about what is done to you, you probably don't even know the opportunity cost and the lost potential in your mental health, your focus, your physical health, your hormones. I'm telling you, it's the empire. They don't teach us about sleep quality. They don't teach us about getting health mentors. They try to gaslight all of the chiropractors who are teaching natural health care. They try to gaslight all the herbalists and acupuncturists, saying that that's just voodoo, that you need our drugs. You know, how many people just, you know, they go through life feeling mediocre. It's not like everyone has a health crisis. I had a couple health crises already. But I also just had stretches of 5-10 years where I just felt meh. I just felt drained. I just felt mediocre. You know, light symptoms. How many people are ignoring light symptoms? Not knowing that it leads to something worse. You know, I would eat these grains, these breads, this oatmeal, and I would just feel kind of lethargic and drained for a couple hours after I ate it. guy's behind me. He doesn't know how to go around. It's a small street. All right, I'll get out of his way. So, was I paying attention? Was I paying attention to the light symptoms that my body was giving me, the light level lethargy? No. But I was building up irritable bowel syndrome. I was ruining my gut flora. You know, I would love oatmeal every single day. Another lie. Oatmeal's good for you. Another lie. People don't know what's in oatmeal. It gives you the munchies, the opioid effect. That's why you're eating bread, you're eating oatmeal, stimulates your appetite. That's why you keep on eating it. You can't stop eating it. Food industries love it. That's why they give you bread at a restaurant as an appetizer. Stimulates your appetite. You eat more, not less. Why would they give you free bread? Think about it. They give you free bread at a restaurant. You think that that would just make you less hungry and order less? No, it makes you more hungry and order more. Dr. William Davis, great book, Wheat Belly and Supergut, talks all about what really happens, the truth about wheat. You know, take what the government is telling you to do and do the opposite. You know, at least they got the sugar part right. They put sugar at the very top of the pyramid. Have the least sugar, right? But don't believe them about the wheat. You gotta research wheat. It just gives you the munchies. Not only that, it's not just about the opioid effect. They call it an obesogenic chemical. It's about your gut health. The gluten and the gliadin in the wheat was destroying my gut microbiome. Completely destroying my gut microbiome. That's why I was having pain in my gut, lethargy. It's not even just your gut microbiome. It's your gut lining, the actual integrity of your intestines. It gets destroyed by the gliadin, by the gluten. Very inflammatory. You know, you ever eat a lot of pasta or wheat, you just feel tired, just kind of feel kind of sore. Inflammation, full body inflammation. You know, you walk by a field full of wheat, what does it look like? Does it make you salivate? Does it look like you can eat it? No, it looks like grass. It's green. It looks like grass. You would not be able to eat that if it weren't for machines. It's unnatural. Versus you look at milk, you salivate. You know, real milk. Don't even get me started on the horrible practices of the dairy industry. But you get real milk, oh, that's a completely different story. You know, raw milk, that's a completely different story. So I changed my life just switching from gluten. Who would have thought? Something so simple, not eating something that you don't have digestive enzymes for. Changes your energy, changes your brain. You know, I had brain fog. It'd be so hard for me to read. You ever get that? I'd be sitting down, I'd be reading a book. Have to read the same sentence 5 times. I couldn't focus. Just constantly thinking about drama, just constantly thinking about, you know, stress. You know how much it stresses out your body and your mind? You know, they don't teach you about the different kinds of stress, you know? Why don't they teach you about the different kinds of stress? Dr. John Bergman always said there's physical stress, chemical stress, emotional stress. And there's also deficiency stress. You know, we're dealing with all of those. So when I was eating all that bread, all that oatmeal, it would just put me into the state of stress. Physical stress makes me think about my mental stress, makes me think about everything wrong in my life, just ruined my emotions for years. You know, and people wonder, why are we in this mental health pandemic? Well, what do you think? Why are we in a physical health pandemic? Are we? Of course we are. 74% of people overweight. You look at all the chronic conditions, we're actually coming up with new terms for them. The metabolic syndrome basically just means when you're fucked. when you're completely fucked in so many ways? It's like a constellation of different problems with your body. What are they going to do? Put you on medications? They're not going to tell you about how to actually get in shape and regain your vitality. They're not going to sit down and teach you Health 101. It'll take too long. That's why I'm creating this program. You know, these are programs in your brain. You're reprogramming your brain from the propaganda. Health 101. You know, because we talk about everything. That's why I talk about not just physical stuff, mental stuff, habits. You know, we can go over that. All these things, they just make health and fitness simple. They make health and fitness simple, effortless, when you get all of them right. But they don't talk to you about that. Everyone thinks health and fitness is so difficult, so complicated. It has to be a grind, like something extremely difficult. It's not true. It's not true at all. You learn the simple Health 101, the health truth. You get your nervous system and your hormones right, everything happens on its own, easily, effortlessly. Why? Because hormones are like the president of your body. See, the president can say, expand economically, build businesses, get people employed, and make America great, right? That's what a good president does. But the president can also say, you know, we're going to set up all these lobbyists. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to set up all of these inefficient government systems that are just going to give people handouts. That's what hormones are doing. They can either put you into, hey, let's just invest everything in war. Let's just invest everything in BS strategies. Or he can say, be prosperous. That's what hormones do. They either ignite your system of rest and digest, heal, or they ignite, oh my God, this is stressful, everything's horrible, prepare for a battle. And so the problem is, most people are always in the battle mode. Their hormones are the president that's always telling them, prepare for battle, invest everything in military. That's not right. You have to have a balance. Ideally, you're prepared for battle, but ideally you're spending most of your time economic expansion, productivity, rest and digest, provide value for the body. So your hormones are doing one or the other, right? You can only be in one phase or another. So you look at what's happening with people, they're always stressed out. So that's a good way of looking at the complexities of things. Physical, chemical, emotional deficiency, stress. Anything that puts your body in stress is a hormone that is taking away from your health. People are in way too much stress nowadays from way too many sources, right? And so that's why health and fitness is so difficult, is because your hormones aren't right. You're too stressed. People always say, what do you mean? You think meditation is gonna help me lose weight? You've never made the connection. Of course it is. Because I'll just ask you a couple questions. You can't say, of course it is, because then they get defensive. You just have to say, all right, so do bad habits cause weight gain? Do bad habits cause bad health? Of course they do. Well, what's the source of bad habits? Why do people have bad habits? Well, that's a little bit harder. Why do people have bad habits? Why do people overeat? Why do people doom scroll? Why do people watch pornography? Why do people go to the alcohol and the smoking? Why do people go to sex? Not that sex is a bad habit, but without love, just doing it for pleasure, we have data. We know that that doesn't foster happiness. So why do people go to all of these bad habits? Well, what do you think? I get them thinking. And then I'll ask them, all right, well, what about stress? Does stress cause bad health? Oh yeah, stress is a killer. Everyone admits that. Stress is a killer. By then, they're kind of putting it together if they're smart. Because if you really understand what causes bad habits, you know, everyone's trying to cope with some negative emotion. The more negative emotion you have, we see direct correlation with coping behavior, trying to escape that negative emotion with these bad habits, right? Includes overeating. A lot of people think that it's just a discipline thing. No, it's an emotional thing. Overeating is an emotional thing. It's a drug, right? So we go to all these drugs because we can't stand that we're feeling negative emotions, aka stress. So if you decrease negative emotions and stress, then what does that do? You know, I'll ask them, you know what the stress hormone is? It's cortisol. So what does cortisol do to the body? Does it help you burn fat? Does it make you gain fat long term? So they start making the connection, right? So you look at my life, or you look at anyone's life, you ask them, whenever you're stressed out, do you gain weight or do you get in better shape? Whenever you have negative emotions, more commonly, do you get in better shape, you get in worse shape? Do you look better? Do you feel better? Or you look worse, feel worse? Does it age you? Does it make you more young, energized, happy? They know. So you look at any period of time where you're going through physical, chemical, emotional stress, deficiency stress, and you're basically ruining your health. You're gaining weight, you're losing energy, you're losing cognition, you're losing brain power, you're losing libido, you're losing vitality. So people are confused, but then they start to understand, so if meditation can improve my emotions, so you have to ask them, can meditation improve your emotions? How do you improve your emotions? How do you improve your perceptions? How do you improve your stress? Because however you do that is how you improve your health, right? So, but people haven't been taught this. People haven't been taught the horrible impact of stress and negative emotions on even something related to their body, like energy, vitality, fat gain, metabolism, digestion, sleep, negative habits. They're not making the connection. I think it's just willpower. I have to willpower myself to stop watching porn. Never works. You know, I struggled with that too. Addicted to porn for years. You know, and I was under religious teaching, so I felt shame too. What is that? Negative emotion. What does that do? More coping. See, it's a vicious cycle. It's not a good cycle. So what the hell do you do? Well, you gotta break the cycle. You gotta understand habit science. You have to understand negative emotion. You have to understand stress. Who's teaching about stress? Physical, chemical, emotional deficiency stress. Right? No. People are actually teaching things that stress you out. You're trying to get in shape. They tell you go jog 3 to 5 miles a day. What does that do? It stresses you out. Even just thinking about it makes you stressed out. Eat 0-calorie food. Eat the 0-calorie food, even if it has sweeteners, artificial sweeteners. That's stressing you out. Chemical stress. Who's teaching you how to avoid the physical, chemical, emotional stress? Who's teaching you about deficiencies, right? Fitness. The fitness industry is so shallow. A lot of it is the dark side of the force. A lot of it is the dark side of the force. Just telling you what you want to hear, deceiving you, selling you rubbish so that they can get money. That's it. Because they're not teaching you physical, chemical, emotional deficiency stress techniques. Everyone knows stress is a killer. It's just such a platitude by now. Stress is a killer. Don't get stressed. Problem solved. Stress is a killer. Don't get stressed. Problem solved. It's that simple. It's like, wow. Are you really that naive that you think it's that simple? You're not going to teach people about their mind? You're not going to teach people about their emotions? You know, people be overworking. People be stressed out. People have negative associations about almost anything in their life. People don't meditate. People don't contemplate or journal. How many people are constantly doing gratitude journaling, meditations, habit shifting meditations, mental reprogramming meditations, NLP, speaking to yourself differently, using different words, programming different thoughts and phrases into your internal dialogue, your external dialogue, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, who's actually practicing all these different techniques that you can use to change how you perceive things, change your associations. It's not just meditation, it's stuff that you can do in your everyday waking life, like right now. You want to see a CBT technique right now? You call it anchoring to an identity. So you just imitate somebody who has a good attitude. You start seeing things differently. You're impersonating them. So you put yourself in a good sphere, you act like them, boom. You start seeing things differently. It trains your perspective differently. It trains your outlook. It reframes. Who's teaching people how to practice this? When's the last time you heard a fitness guru talk about something like this? Versus are they just teaching you the same vanilla basics about push-ups and macros and telling you about how many ounces of water to drink? All really surface level stuff. It doesn't get to the core of what's really happening in you. It's not rocket science, but people aren't talking about it. People aren't teaching you stress techniques. You can act like someone's silly or funny. You act like Jim Gaffigan. You act like Larry David. You can laugh at the silliness that people have. You don't have to take everything so seriously. You laugh at the ridiculous things that happen. You role play Robin Williams. You start feeling a little bit different about your life. I mean, I may be a small man on this strange planet, but at least I'm not an ant, and God's not stomping me like this kid over here. Ugh. You don't have to be good at it. You just practice. It puts you in a different persona, a different frame. You laugh at things more, right? People say, live, laugh, love. All right, how? There's actually techniques. If you're actually struggling, people actually have to have practical examples of how to do it. Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love. Positive affirmations. Live, laugh, love. I'm living, I'm laughing, I'm loving. Well, how? Gotta practice. It's for your health. Oop. We gotta remove a rock from our blades. All right, hold on. We have a little pebble stuck in here somewhere. Oh, it was a leaf, I think. Okay. All right, so I mean, there's so much that I can talk about. I can tell you story after story in my life of all the mistakes I made. I hurt my back as a kid on a trampoline, trying to do a backflip as I moved forward. And I had a back injury for a year, ruined my life. I couldn't do anything. And when I finally actually got myself to go to a physical therapist, the guy reassured me. He was the first mentor I ever had. He reassured me. He said, your day is coming. You know how much hope that gave me? You know what I learned from that? I was wallowing in depression as a 14-year-old for a year in hopelessness. My health got horrible. I gained weight, I was weak, I was depressed. Hope. He gave me hope. My mentor gave me hope. And right when I had hope, everything changed in my life. I was happier, I was exercising more, my rehab was going great, my grades went back up. What does that teach me? Emotions like hope, your perspective like hope. The perspective change you can get from a mentor, invaluable, profoundly valuable. Emotions have a huge impact on your body. That's what I learned. Another time, I'll tell you the story about that happened recently. this past like 2 years, I got over this this horrible mold illness. I was living in the garage unit in the Airbnb. I bought this house. I decked it out. I was renting out all the rooms. I was house hacking. Everything was going great, but you know, I renovated the garage. So there I was in my garage, living for 6 months. Got some kind of mold toxicity, right? So it's toxicity got into my gut. All of a sudden, digestion is difficult, having strange emotions, feeling like socially isolating. Living in a garage unit. We're not taught about avoiding mold in the school system. For months, I don't know what's happening. And then I get long COVID. And so I get knocked into chronic fatigue for months. I'd say a good 14 months knocked into chronic fatigue, so horrible, it's hard to do anything. It's hard to walk, it's hard to think, it's hard to socialize, it's hard to prepare food. It's even hard to watch YouTube. I was stuck. I was depressed. I was hopeless. Again, everything I tried didn't work. I tried everything from the outside, didn't work. Nothing was working. The supplements, the expensive supplements, all the walking I was doing, I was tracking my calories every day. I was trying different superfoods. All that stuff, gimmicky. Supplements don't work. So I had a physical illness that knocked me into a mental illness. And so I had to attack it from both ends, right? I had to learn more and more and more about gut health. I had to learn about extinguishing pathogens and toxicity from my body. I had to learn about detoxing. I had to learn about positive emotionality, how to overcome sorrow, desperation, how to overcome all these negative emotions, the worst negative emotions you can possibly have. Self-hatred. My self-esteem was in the gutter. I was so antisocial because I was just ashamed of who I became. Fat, lazy, unmotivated, dark, sullen, gloomy. My shadow overtook me. I hated life, hated the world, hated that there's this possibility to get so sick without any help. Doctors couldn't help me. They suggested antacids and mundane, nonsensical solutions. Wasted my money and my time. I was angry. Oh. Very angry. And I went on like that in a downward spiral for months. Month after month after month. It's horrible. It's the worst thing I ever experienced in my life. I was in hell. I didn't know how to get out. Imagine all those problems. How do you solve all those problems? It seems impossible. But I regained my hope. You know, there was this yoga event that I looked into because I was about to give up, but my friend said, you can't quit. If you quit, you die. I was determined to survive. But it was like there was a electric storm raging in my mind 24/7. All the negative emotions telling me that nothing will work. But I had to keep moving. I remember a quote by a man named Iro. He said, sometimes in life you can feel like you're walking through a dark tunnel with no light that you can see. But if you just take one more step, then you'll be in a better place than you were yesterday. And so I knew I had to keep on going. Like I said, I was determined to survive. So I saw this yoga meditation. It was a satsang with Isha, basically a gathering where you all get together, share positivity. You sing, you dance, you worship. I was nervous. I didn't want to go, but I forced myself to go. I had to try something new for myself. Little did I know it was going to change my life, but I was doubtful. It's like right when I got into the car, you ever have this happen? You're going to go somewhere, you get a little bit nervous, you get in the car and you just feel ego backlash. All your insecurities come back up. Your subconscious mind retaliates, makes you just want to go in and just eat. Just go in, watch your show, forget about this. Why do you need this? All the intellectual excuses come up in your mind. It's your ego backlash. That happened to me bigly. That happened to me in a big way. It was as if a hurricane just appeared in front of me. I just took a deep breath. Like I said, I was determined to survive. I embraced it because that turmoil was just a reflection of the turmoil that I was going through for so many years anyways. No big difference for me. So I end up going. Drive all the way over there. It's like a 45-minute drive. Get to the temple. Beautiful temple. But my anxiety is through the roof. Just want to turn back every step of the way. I get there, walk in, everyone's socializing. Social anxiety. Man, I was messed up. I managed to stay, even though I'm so socially awkward and anxious. Eventually they have us sit down, close our eyes. We start meditating. I calm down a little bit. I like the meditation. I don't have to talk. I don't have to be looked at. I don't have to be judged. We relax. After like 20 minutes of doing that, they start playing light music on the harmonium, on the drums. Very devotional songs, gentle, calming. I'm loving it. I'm starting to really like it. And then they start saying, hey, chant back with us. It'll make you feel great. So we start chanting back and forth. It's called a kirtan. I start feeling great. I start feeling emotions that I haven't felt in such a long time. Such warmth I feel in my stomach and my heart. I feel sentiments of caring, of lightheartedness, of benevolence. I start feeling all these positive emotions I haven't felt for months. Remember, like 14 months. It's like somebody who hasn't had a hug in 14 months. That's what happens. I felt like I didn't have positive emotion for so long. It's not just about avoiding stress, it's about having positive emotion. Right? So I'm feeling these positive emotions of altruism, nobility, gratitude. I start feeling amazing. Singing more and more and more. The devotion gets deeper and deeper. I'm feeling everyone's emotions there. And I'm reconnecting with these great parts of my personality, these great parts of my heart that I thought were actually gone. I thought that they were gone forever. And just the music and singing with everyone's bringing it back. And then, after some of that, they switch it into this festive, this nice, light and fun music. And, I'm enjoying it. But then I see that people are getting up and dancing, and I'm thinking, oh man, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I was still in my ego. I was still thinking, I don't know about this. What are people gonna think? I'm gonna be awkward. I don't feel like it. I'm still kind of feeling heavy. My life sucks. So I'm not getting up. People are all up and dancing around like little kids. I'm just watching. I'm kind of enjoying it, but at the same time, I kind of feel pressured. Until this older Indian guy comes up to me, and he just looks at me and he holds out his hands like this. He's just holding out my hands with a gentle smile. The guy had really calm eyes. I liked his vibe. So I said, what the heck? He pulled me up. He starts doing his little old man jingle. I'm kind of like moving around with him. I don't care. I loved his vibe. He just didn't care. He was just bouncing around gently. I started doing it with him. I started feeling good. Within 5-10 minutes, I'm dancing around. I'm feeling lighthearted again. I'm really starting to let go. The music is picking up. It's getting more and more festive, more and more energized. I'm just thinking, wow, I'm not in my ego so much anymore. I start to feel just like the silliness. I'm just dancing with people, all of the childlike energy. And it gets to the point where I'm feeling so many good emotions. I'm just reconnecting with the feeling of, holding someone's hand and just dancing around, doing something silly. of just bouncing around. I'm releasing all this trauma, all this negative emotion stored in my body. It just starts coming out. And combined with the music, my energy is just getting pumped and pumped and pumped until I actually am able to break free, finally, from all of the negative emotions, releasing all the negative energy, all the lies telling me that I'm sad, I'm stuck, I'm a grouch, nobody likes me. All of a sudden something breaks. And I start dancing and releasing all of this stored energy. It was a mixture. It was a mixture of strong emotion, strong relief. I was crying. I was finally feeling freedom. I was finally reconnecting to my positive sentiments of beauty and appreciation. First time in months. I danced harder and more vigorously and more freely and more joyfully. I released so much negative energy in my dance. I was lightly grunting. I was flailing my arms sometimes. But it was also combined with just being so happy and feeling so good. The most primal dance. I felt like an African wild man. Just without any restrictions, any restraints. Absolute freedom. And for the first time in all those months, I finally felt free. I finally felt the remembrance of what it really feels like to be alive. I didn't care about how I looked. Suddenly I just stopped caring. I stopped caring what people thought of me. I stopped caring about feeling sick. I stopped caring about whether or not I get married. I stopped caring about whether or not I would get a job, if I would be successful. I stopped caring about my shitty life and my shitty health. I stopped caring about how much of an idiot and a failure I am. I stopped caring about everything. I just did not care. I gave zero shits. I just let go of everything. And in that moment, I melted. Everything about all my past, my sickness, it melted. I was finally free from the constant low-grade refrigerator hum of my negative emotions, my self-hatred, my shame, my guilt, my disappointment. I was finally free. If only even for just those few moments. And I danced so freely. I was free from all the demons of my negative emotions and stress. And I felt alive again. I finally felt vital. I finally felt real vitality. I wasn't broken. I was alive. I left that temple a changed person. I had hope. I wasn't defined by what I was going through. I had hope. I learned the profound power of my emotions on my health, because that whole night I felt great. And even into the morning, I woke up feeling twice as energized as yesterday. It was from emotion. You know, some people think, well, was it the music? Was it the meditation? It was the emotion. The freedom from negative emotion mixed with positive emotion. It's medicine to your body. It's health to your heart. That's what makes someone vital. That's how I became a mind-body practitioner. It's because I truly understood the power of mind on the body as medicine. I lived it, I felt it. It revived me, it resurrected me. Not that it was smooth sailing from there. It wasn't a one-shot Scott. But you know what I did? I determined to create a new lifestyle, a new program. I found the secret elixir of life. I found how to escape the scourge of my ill health, of the lack of vitality, the lack of my energy, my stomach problems, my fat, my low self-esteem. I studied and I remembered all of the masters who taught positive emotionality, meditation, mindfulness, mind-body medicine. And I created a program that changed my life. I shaved my head as an external symbol of my commitment. It was like I was becoming a monk. I was going to live a new life, committed to emotional freedom. I redirected my aim and my values towards involvement, enrichment, contribution. I went on a mission. I wanted to share this with everybody. I took all my suffering, I put it into this desire to serve. And I said, I'm going to become a great healer. I always wanted to be a healer ever since I was a kid. And PJ inspired me. I said, I can still do it. I can come back. I can get back up. I can live again and share this. And so I went on my new program 3 times a day, formal meditation. But every second of the day, watching my reactions, reframing, using these techniques that we've been talking about, anchoring with the personality, impersonating successful, positive personalities. What was I doing? Reprogramming my brain, speaking to myself different, writing down positive phrases, constantly repeating them to myself, doing what Jose Silva calls a complete house cleaning, total house cleaning rather. I studied the Silva method of impacting my subconscious mind, reprogramming my habits, reprogramming my self-talk, reprogramming my emotions, and I practiced. So it was a combination of yogic techniques, number 1, active meditation techniques like Silva method, number 2, number 3, classical psychological training. If you go to a psychiatrist, psychologist, they're going to tell you during your daily life, this is how you reprogram your brain. Repetition. So you're using your subconscious with the yoga and the active meditation. You're using your conscious mind with the psychological approaches. You're approaching it from every direction. And I found even within just 2 weeks, I was blossoming. My energy was coming back. I was feeling fantastic. I was sleeping better. I had more energy to work out. I wanted to work out. I wanted to study. My brain was coming back online. I was feeling more social, more positive. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was the most interesting thing I've ever done. Reprogramming all of my negative thoughts, all my anxieties, all my complaining, all my fears, my health anxiety. Every single time I ate, I was thinking, is this going to cause me pain? Is this going to cause me fatigue? I had to rewire everything. I was seriously mentally pathological. But with enough diligence, you can climb a mountain. With enough diligence, you can eat an elephant. And so every single day, I was swatting away negative thoughts, retraining my brain. Thousands of times a day, swatting away negative thoughts, replacing them with positive thoughts. I was doing emotional releases. I learned from Frederick Dodson. Sometimes you have suppressed emotions, suppressed thoughts. It's in your subconscious mind. You have to deal with that eventually. You can't just keep on denying it. You can't repress it. You can't suppress your whole life. You gotta do that when you gotta do that. But then when you have the time, release the gasket, release the valve. So I was using those healthy practices to decompress my subconscious mind and to really face down my demons. A lot of people don't understand this because we're not taught this either in social studies. We're not taught about ourselves. Why don't we learn about psychology in school? People don't understand where their own behavior and thoughts come from. We're not in control of our own thoughts because we don't understand the subconscious. So I had to learn about the subconscious. I had to learn why I had physical twitches and anxiety when I was interacting with people. I had to figure out why I avoided people. I didn't have free will. I didn't have free will. It's like people always think that they have free will. Well, then why is it that you can't control all your behaviors? Why is it that so much of the time you get triggered? Why is it that you have so many bad habits? Why is it that you can't control what you say, how you say it? Why is it that you can't just instantly be perfect? It's because you have to train yourself to have free will. You have to train yourself to understand your own mind, your own subconscious. Or else you're just a puppet being puppeteered by everybody. Marketers, the dark side of the government, the dark side of all these industries, advertising. You're programming from your upbringing, you're programming from your pain. How do you overcome your cravings and your aversions? How do you let go of that attachment that you have that's causing you to feel like, oh no, I have to make it work. I have to get the girl's number. I have to avoid pain. How do you change those things? Because those things control you. You know, you avoid pain so you don't start a business. You don't start getting in shape. I felt all of that. You avoid rejection, you avoid taking risks, and then people think that they're in complete self-control, they have complete free will. Be realistic. Think deeper. How can that be true? Maybe you have a slight percentage. People act like it's a binary on or off switch. I either have free will or I don't. Well, come on, think a little bit deeper. It's not on or off, it's like a knob. It's a gradient. It's a spectrum. You can have 1% free will, you can have 0%, you can have 50%. It just depends on how much of your life is compulsive, how much you're addicted, all right? So I had to deal with that too. It's all part of my journey. It's still part of my journey. We're all still working on this. No one's arrived unless if you're an enlightened, supreme yogi. And even then, there's probably room to improve. Jesus said, be perfect even as my Father is perfect. And even Jesus said to John the Baptist, you have to baptize me to complete all perfection. What does that mean? What would happen if Jesus didn't get baptized by John the Baptist? So everybody has work to do. Everybody can move higher and higher towards perfection. Your ignorance can be infinite, but that means your learning can also be infinite. Your growth can be infinite. The nature of the universe is infinite. So why would we think any other way? And so I kept on implementing my program. Strict scheduled meditation as much as possible, using my conscious mind to reprogram myself as much as possible. Within 4 months, I graduated from my professional program easily, passed my test, passed my licensing exam, went on, moved to Miami, started a new life, started a new career, made new friends, started taking more professional advancement courses. My life opened up. I got back my energy. I was learning again. I was reading books. I was exercising. I was socializing. I lost the 20 pounds of fat easily. I mean, I'm lean. I am lean. Still lean to this day. And it was effortless. Why? Hormones, stress. I also biohacked. I used all the nutritional biohacks to optimize my hormones, focused on my gut health. Got particular microbes in my gut that produce testosterone. It's all about hormones, guys. Focused on my hormones, it changed everything. I actually learned how to relax, enjoy life. People don't talk about that. The power of relaxation. The power of being chill and enjoying life. The little things. Enjoy the little things in life. Relax. Stop feeling like you're not enough. Stop feeling like you're a failure. You gotta train yourself to do these things. I finally learned it, and it changed everything. You know, so it's the foundation of your whole life. Your health. You know, people talk about health, wealth, love, and happiness. Well, how are you going to get love and happiness if you don't have health? How are you going to get wealth if you don't have health? That's why it comes first. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. First thing is health. You need a functioning body and energy, good food, shelter. You need wealth for that. But to even get wealth, you need your health. And so the foundation of society, a functioning society, is health. That's why there's a dark side, the imperial dark side of the force, taking away people's health, completely destroying the nation. Thank you. And that's why we have to be intentional about overcoming the dark side of the force and being in touch with the truth, exercising and spreading the truth. That's why I appreciate all the true Jedis out there, the true doctors, the true healers, the people with the truth, who are living the truth, supporting the truth, buying the truth, spreading the truth, believing the truth. The real world changers are the health hackers, breaking out of the matrix that the dark side has weaved. This is the battle. This is what society needs. This is the ultimate battle. That's why we have Jedis, heroes like Robert Kennedy Jr., make America healthy again, getting rid of the toxins in our food. The food is the foundation of our bodies, of our brains. We have to support these men, these Jedis, these movements. We have to change our own lives first. Without this, there is no future of America. You will see the society crumble if you don't invest in the right things. What happened to the Roman Empire? It got torn apart from divisions on the inside. Well, what happens when your society gets torn apart? Literally from the inside. Literally torn apart. Because the government and all the biggest, most powerful industries, they're not literally taking out swords and fighting, but in a subtle, snake-like way, they're fighting. They're killing you. A house divided against itself cannot prosper. And that's what they're doing. And it will fall like the Roman Empire if we don't reverse it. How could it be any other way? Of course. Of course. Of course that's how it's going to end up if we don't act. But that's why we act. And that's who we are, and that's what we stand for. The health hackers. The health hacker Jedis. Going deep. So, feeling great, feeling blessed, feeling like this is a wonderful, beautiful day, even though I had 4 hours of sleep. You know, your mind is more powerful than anything. You look at the Marines, the SEALs, the strong men. They can go 3-4 hours of sleep for a week in Hell Week. Getting up 3 a.m., jogging in the rain with backpacks on, carrying a canoe. Your mind is the real source of power. Your mind can empower your body, and your body can empower your mind. That's why I call it mind-body medicine. You use both. You know, it's not this cheesy idea this naturalistic biology-based idea that everything's just molecules that the system wants to feed you. No, mind, body medicine. This is the futuristic approach. This is what people have been teaching for thousands of years in yoga, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine. You do both. So the ancient truths are what's going to be what gives us a future. And you're part of it. It's a glorious time. It's a truly glorious time. We're going to see an awakening and a revival that we've never seen. It's thanks to us. Gotta spread this holy knowledge, okay? So I'm gonna sign off. You have a strong day full of truth and life. And I'll talk to you soon.